Hi everybody, it is Make It Monday, and I am going to show you today how one of my new favorite mediums is fabric to work with. As you know from Low Country Bohemian, I am a fabric girl, so check out some of my other stuff. But today we're using the Chalk Couture transfer from the Nautical set. It's $25.99 for a 12 by 18 sheet, and you get 3 separate transfers that can be cut apart and used separately. To do all kinds of stuff with. So this is one I did already, and so now I'm going to use this guy, which I have been told is not technically a blue crab, but we are going to make it look like a blue crab because here in Charleston we have blue crabs. So I mixed up my own paste today that I'm going to use for some of its parts. I mixed 2 colors together for that. I mixed 2 colors to do his body with, and then we're going to go straight up with some red orange for his claws. So let's get started. I think I'm going to start with the lightest color, that way things don't get smashed around. And this is the chocolate brownie batter mixed with sand is the color. I think that's kind of appropriate. So I'm just going to put this on here, get it out here out of a little pot. Let me get a little bit more. And once that's out, I'm going to use my squeegee to move it around and get it all on his body parts. And now his top shell is this color anyways. I wish it was a little lighter because crabs are kind of more of that sandy, dirty brown, if you will, and I think I'm going to need more. Usually when you do it on chalkboards, the paste goes a lot further, so as much as I put on there already would have covered an entire chalkboard, this whole thing on a chalkboard, but because this is fabric, it's really soaking in and loving on it, so I'm just going to give it a little bit more. Get off my stick. And I love these little popsicle sticks. They're so handy to have. So we're going to put that a little bit more. And what I like about using this chalk paste in general is that you typically don't need a whole lot, and so there's not a lot of waste. So once you do this and you get it on where you want it to go, and you do kind of have to work fast because you don't want to let it sit and dry out, but I'll show you a tip for that right before I'm done, what I'm going to do with that. I'm having a hard time with this little squeegee, but this squeegee has all kinds of different sides, so I can turn and work with a different end of it over here. So you pick up some of the chalk from here and you put it where you want it. So it's kind of like frosting a cake, which with this brownie batter is kind of making me want to have something. All right, so when you're all done with that part, you get off the excess, right, and put it back into the pot, so then you don't really waste it, and you can use this over and over. All right, so so look at this pretty blue that I mixed up. It's the blue I used for the 4th of July stuff. Get a lot of that and stick him all in here. Get this all out, y'all. I'm kind of end right about there. I know I could probably smear that. Let's try and see what that does. So this is one of the small squeegees that I cut in half. It comes this size. Where's my guy? It comes this size, but I like to cut him in half because then it's easier to work with, and it's got this little bevel at the top. So I'm just take this and work that chalk paste right through the silk screen transfers. Now if you had a regular stencil, it wouldn't be this wonderful to work with because we're actually pushing the chalk paste through the silk screen on the transfer so that when it lifts up, it's going to take away a lot of that excess paste. So you can really get down on here. And I don't know if I wanted his claws to be, oh well, see, I make mistakes, it's okay. I'll come back and fix him. But if it was a stencil, you'd have to really, dab at it. And this one you can really get in there and push the paste through that silk screen and get it into the fibers of the fabric or onto the chalkboard, whichever you're working with. Okay, I'm going to get a little bit more. And yes, when I'm not using my squeegee, I put it in my mouth to hold it. Now, don't judge me. Alright. There we go. It's like having a third hand. Haven't you ever wished you had a third hand? It'd be so helpful. Okay. And like I said, normally that would have been more than enough paste, but this is fabric. Come on. So see, it's drying on here. So if I was working a little quicker, I wouldn't have to do this one final step. Sometimes people get a wet paper towel or a wet cloth and lay it over the top of the parts that are done, and that way it keeps it wet. But I'm going to do a little bit different. Oh, and I got it on the fabric. I'm going to have to wash that off later. But if you were on a regular chalkboard, you wouldn't worry about that little smushy right there, because when you were done, you could wash it right off. But because this is fabric, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. All right, look at this red orange. Isn't that beautiful? Okay. And this one's a little bit thicker. I probably could add a little spray of water, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. Get his claws. Now, I also work with a company called Angling Women, and we teach women and children and families how to fish and get on the water and crab and do all that kind of coastal fun stuff. And so if this was my class, I would flip this little guy over and I would show you how to tell if it was a girl or a boy. So I'd love to see in the comments if any of you are anglers or you like to crab, if you know how to tell if a crab is a girl or a boy. Okay, so final step here, since this part's kind of dry, I'm going to take a little squirt of water and just kind of mist it a little bit. Let that sit for just a second. Make sure your hands are clean before you go to wipe it up, or you'll get chalk wherever you put your fingers. All right, ready to say ooh and ah? Look at him. Yay! Anyways, so there's my crab. As you can see, through the transfer here, this negative part right here didn't come off wonderfully, but there is a big negative in the transfer, so that actually wouldn't have gotten paste, and that's exactly the way the transfer was designed. So, ta-da, there's my crab. I'm going to add some other little details, but that's the basics of it. Enjoy!